Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Teacher Talk, the podcast for teachers who are lifers but still want to have a life. I'm Jared, and as always, I'm joined by my partner, Johanna. Hello, Johanna.
Hello, Jared.
What are we going to talk about today?
Asking for money.
Sometimes I'm quiet for a second when I hear the topic because I'm writing it down.
Yes.
What do you need money for?
For your classroom. For your teaching supplies. For your curriculum needs. Asking for money in the education world is probably very different than asking for money in the business world.
Yes.
Like, you don't buy your staples.
No.
Or your stapler.
I mean, we kind of do.
You do?
I mean, there's like an expense process. There's a requisition system whereby you get things through the approved vendor using your budget code.
Yeah, how is that actually? In the business world, how do you actually get, like, let's say you need sticky notes.
Yeah, so
like, you personally need sticky notes.
you're for a lot of office supply stuff, the business probably has a contract with one of the suppliers like Staples or Dunder Mifflin, and anything that's available through there, you have like it's sort of like an internal Amazon.
Okay.
Where all of the products, so that it doesn't work near as well, and all of the products that are available to you, like staplers or sticky notes, many of which are through that main vendor, are available in there, and it tells you how much they are and per quantity. And then you go in, instead of paying for them with your credit card, you pay for them with your budget code.
So, like, you personally have a budget code, or like your boss has a budget? How does that even work?
Everyone is assigned a budget code. Not everyone has authority to actually use things with their budget code.
Okay.
For something like sticky notes and stuff, it's all managed through the admin.
Okay.
And so I would the admin would come yell at me if I ever bought sticky notes.
Okay.
Because that's like her job.
Okay.
So
you go to your admin to get sticky notes.
Yeah, I go to my admin and say, I need sticky notes. And she says, no, you don't. And then we don't order any. But if she somehow did agree that we did, then she would order them for the office, and in that way help control the costs and help keep us from, I don't necessarily need pink sticky notes if there's a big pile of yellow sticky notes around.
Got it.
And so having it rolled up kind of helps to control for stuff like that.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. It's kind of like internal Amazon.
Okay. So with teaching, it really depends on the school that you're at. But a lot of times, new teachers or young teachers, part of the teacher training process never tells them like how money works within a school. And so that's what we're going to talk about, is how do you get access to this money? Because I'm assuming that knowing how to get new sticky notes was a part of your like training process.
Yeah, not really, but
yeah.
Oh,
really?
Sort of.
Oh, well then maybe this is something that every like realm of business and education needs help with.
Well, lay it on me.
Okay. So basically, at most schools, your building has a budget. And a lot of times teachers are just told their budget amount, or they're told you don't have a budget.
Yes.
And then the teacher just goes with that as a truth, and then goes through the process of getting POs or doing whatever and living within the means that they are told that they need.
Yes.
I suggest not doing it that way, and that is not the way that I do it.
Don't listen to what you're told.
No.
Okay.
No. Instead, go ahead and create a budget for what it costs to run your classroom.
Your personal classroom budget?
Yes.
Got it.
And I am very meticulous with this. Now, once you make it, then you get to use it year after year. But it's another part of when we think about having a job that you can do 40 hours a week, it's a good place to bank hours and to bank time, because simply having the supplies that you need when you need them is...
You're not running out to the store the night before to get...
And spending your own money. I mean, it changes. Like, I would get grumpy if month after month, if week after week, I was spending my own money on my classroom just so students could learn.
Yeah, like say on containers.
Yes. Jared gets mad because we buy a lot of containers.
Home
not anymore.
Home and work. I know, because we already have all the containers.
We have them now.
All of them.
I know, but the containers save money, Jared.
Yeah,
they save money.
They do.
Okay. So this can be challenging to sit down and actually figure out the consumables and what you need. But it is highly, highly worth it to do it long before the school year starts. In fact, I am starting my budget process for next school year now, and this is February.
Yeah, that seems ahead of time. But like, when do you have to have like the official orders in?
Okay, so here's the trick. Principals at the start of the school year are very, very budget conscious, because they're like a little squirrel and they have to save the funds that they have for the whole school year.
Yeah.
But at the end of the year, they are not. They're like the opposite. What's the opposite of the squirrel?
How about the ant and the grasshopper?
Okay.
They're like ants at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
But they're like grasshoppers at the end of the year.
Yes, because a lot of their budgets will automatically go to zero if they don't spend the money. So
It's
find...
like that one episode of The Office.
Oh, yeah?
Do you remember?
No. Refresh me.
They have a budget surplus. And
Oh, yeah.
David or Jan tells Michael that about the surplus. And so he has to decide either to spend it on a new printer or on new chairs. And the whole office divides in half,
Yes.
fighting over which is which.
Yes.
And then Michael learns that he could just keep the bonus and get like a 10% or 15% for himself.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good episode.
Yes. Well, that is not what happens here. What happens here is that they spend it or lose it. And a lot of times if they don't spend it, then their budget the next year is jeopardized to be smaller because they must not have needed it.
No, that's what happens there too.
Oh, okay.
That's Oscar explains it to him.
Oh.
Yeah, if he doesn't, I mean, like in a lot of things, it's baseline budgeting. So if you don't spend it, it's actually bad.
Yes. So I start my budget process in February. In February, I make sure that I spend any money I have left in my account down to the penny. Now, some teachers are going to be like, how did you get an account? We will get there. Then I start to go through my classroom, and I let students love doing this, by the way. Like, you can get students to do hours outside of school. Sometimes it will even connect into your content area to have students help you with it during school, but we take an inventory of the entire classroom.
Inventory?
Yes. If you don't have a classroom, your storage closet, whatever it is, you got to do a full inventory.
All of the things.
All the things, and then guesstimate out what you're going to use yet the rest of that school year.
What's consumable.
Right. And then based off of that inventory, I put together a line item budget. So I know exactly how many pieces of paper I'm going to order, exactly if I need more scissors, how many of those I'm going to order. Everything is a line item, not a holistic number.
Line item, like you're going to, like if you actually had to buy them all.
Yes, I have where I'm going to buy it from. I have the code, the item code. Now, once you make this once, you get to reuse it year after year after year. And a lot of times the actual, like, whatever distributors your school district uses, or if you get catalogs in the mail, like a lot of times they will do this work for you or with you. And then I never want a principal to have like, oh, she's asking for $350. Well, I'm going to give her 10% less than that. Instead, I'm like, oh, if I need to be 10% less, let's go through and
So
decide
tell me which things we're
together
not getting.
what unit do you want to cut,
Yeah.
right? Like, we're going to make this hard choice together.
Oh, do you tie the things on the budget to the units?
Yes.
It's like this unit's
I
gonna,
connect it to the grade since I happen to teach multiple grades. Like, or when I taught high school and I taught multiple courses, like I connect. So I could tell you exactly per pupil how much a kid. So if you added, if I had 27 kids in a course versus if I have 30 kids in a course, this is what my budget has to be for those additional
need
students.
30 sheets of paper for this lesson.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
I need one sheet of paper per student. So if you want me to teach this lesson to 30 students, we need this.
Yep.
If I don't have it, then we can't do it.
Yes, correct.
Got it.
Yeah. And this sounds very detailed and it sounds very complicated. And it is. That's part of why I start in February. But once you have it done, you have it. And teaching an entire school year where everything you need to teach is physically already in your room, it's worth I can't describe to you how much it reduces your stress and anxiety and concern to have this done. And so if you're not going to teach something, then you're not going to teach it and you're going to know it before the school year even starts. And so it's not a question of going out and spending $250 to teach this lesson because you already got told no. And if it's in the curriculum, you're going to be surprised how they don't tell you no. When everything's lined, itemed out, like for example, I have the school district buy me 4 purple pens. They're my teaching pen. I get 4.
Yes. Why do you need purple?
Because that's my teaching color.
Okay.
But, I mean, if they wanted me to cut that $8, they could. But it seems reasonable that a teacher is going to go through 4 pens. I mean, really, I'm going to go through 3 and lose 1. But it seems reasonable that a teacher would get 4 pens.
So I need to send a note to your principal. You only need $6 for pens.
Probably.
You just need to be motivated not to lose that 4th one.
I know. Probably that's true. But do you see what I mean? I mean,
Yeah. Make it real.
Make it real.
Because otherwise they're going to do, and probably correctly,
Yes.
you're going to say, I need about $500.
Yes, or I
they're
need
gonna be
about $5,000, and they're. I mean,
And they're going to be like, why don't you try and make do with $3,000?
Yeah, I've had budgets of over $10,000 when literally every cent is accounted for. It's a whole different conversation, though. And it's not that. I mean, let's say I have 30 kids, and let's say I order 33 pieces of paper. Like there again, the principal doesn't fault that like 10% margin is fair and rational.
Yeah.
Like I've just not had that conversation. And sometimes you do have to have conversations about cutting actual units.
And then your ordering is not like it's not like an Amazon. It's like a catalog.
You're
You're like ordering Girl Scout cookies, except instead of writing down Thin Mints times 4,
yes.
you're writing down an item number.
Yep.
On a purchase order.
Yep.
Times a quantity, and
Yep.
then it's all like we're in the Sears and Roebuck catalog days.
Yep. I do Google spreadsheets, and it calculates everything out for me, and then I take that number. So I'm doing this all in February, so I normally get my numbers about March, and I send it out to bid. You can take the top 2 or 3 manufacturers or catalogs and send them to them and get bids.
You send your sheet,
Yeah.
so you let them do the work.
Yeah. They'll put in the item number for you. They'll put in the cost. They'll give you bid pricing. Like I can easily get 20% off an order doing it through bid.
Neat.
And then
And do you do that yourself? And then
I do
submit
that
agreement to the...
I get the bid. I get the bid number. I try and get it so that our our school budget restarts July 1. So I try and make sure my bids are always good from when I get them through like July 15th. And then because the prices also go up during the summer. So like getting that
when new budget season starts.
Yep.
Because they
then
know
your
that's when
prices
most
are
of the
going to go
buying.
up. Whereas right now, during the end of the school year, I get better prices. Okay, so then I go to my principal with the bid. And if like I'm concerned about pricing, maybe I've gone to multiple people and gotten multiple bids. And then a lot of times the principal has extra money and they want to order right then.
Yeah.
Because it's the whole budget thing. Then I'll even get my order in before the end of the school year. So I don't even have any work to do over the summer, putting things away.
That's good.
Yeah, and I don't feel rushed. So if the principal's like, I'm not sure I can make that amount work, then you're having those discussions. Then, if you have other schools in your district that are teaching the same content as you, you can piggyback and find out what they're spending and doing so that there's some sort of consistency. We've been able to use this process to get like a per pupil rate on a lot of the courses, so we know exactly how much we're going to get based off of what it's averaged costing us over multiple years. And so I would say this is one of the things that it was a lot of work up front to do, but has saved me a lot of time and anxiety as a teacher. It makes the year-to-year process of teaching so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have more insights?
I've got one last trick. I have not done this, but a colleague of mine has. They actually were able to get substitute because what I'm describing is hours and hours of work. And their principal was willing to get them a substitute for half the day so that they could do some of this work during the school day. So be willing to like reach out and ask for help, because it could be that it could be that maybe you aren't in a place where students can help you with inventory, but there's associates who could help with inventory, or there's a secretary who could help with reaching out for bid pricing.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually think if you're doing things in the spring and winter, you get a much better reception than if you're trying to do any of this work during the summer or the fall.
Make hay while the sun shines, is what you're saying?
Sure.
We should patent that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've heard it.
I mean, it makes sense that we would figure that when we figured it out, I think. All these people out there have just been making hay as they needed it.
Yes.
Trying to grow grass in the winter. That's what hay is, by the way.
Grass.
Yeah. Turns out it's just fancy grass.
It is fancy grass.
They've been trying to grow it in the winter. It doesn't grow very well.
No.
The
Well,
cow,
they're trying to grow it during the fall and summer.
the cows, they're hungry. There's no grass.
Yes.
What they needed to do was grow a bunch of grass in the spring and summer, and then like cut it and bale it and then store it until the winter when there wasn't going to be grass. That's why our new advice works so well, is make hay while the sun shines.
Okay.
We figured it out. No, okay. So that's the recap.
Recap.
Make hay while the sun shines. That's all you need to know, really.
That's it.
The budget process. There's just a lot of payoffs for doing it ahead of time, unless you're a brand new baby teacher.
No. I forgot that. So when I have moved schools, or when I started teaching, even this was something I've always been good at, is budgeting. I went to visit the school where I was going to work, and then I asked permission from the teacher to take pictures. And then I opened every cabinet, every drawer, and took pictures of what was in there. And then I used those pictures to create my inventory list. And so, like, I knew that I had, like, 10 years worth of Sharpies, or until the Sharpies started drying out. I also knew I had, like, and then I knew, like, I never saw X. And having the pictures made it easy, because then I could just go through and sort. So there's... If you get the job, and you've signed the contract, then get yourself in there and take pictures to find out what is in the classroom.
Got it.
And like simple things like the teacher, there were some things that were the teachers, but the teacher didn't really want to take with them. And so like me simply asking meant that it got to stay, and then that teacher didn't have to worry about moving it.
Principal, secretary, previous teacher. Got it.
Okay.
Those are the people you asked for help. It's part of the recap.
Okay, sorry. Recap us. That was an important one.
Budgeting is no fun. People kind of only do it when they have to, but it's the worst time to do it.
Oh, I kind of like it. Maybe that's why I'm good
Quiet.
at it.
In the fall, when things are needing to be quiet or required for the upcoming school year, bad time. The budgets are tight because they need to be in order to not run out of money. Things are more expensive because that's when everyone's buying. So if you can do your budgeting and purchasing in the spring, there may be extra money in the budget that they're trying to get rid of.
Yes.
Even if there's not.
I find often, I'm trying to think of a year where there wasn't extra money in the budget, where like even part of my order didn't.
I'm sure there's teachers out there that are like, ha, 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 extra money is never going to be a thing. But even if that's true, you're still way better off because you're not going to be able to get your stuff early, but you are starting the conversations about how necessary your stuff is early. And so when it comes time to fall and you do have a new year of budget money that has to be spent for you, you've already established that what of your stuff is actually necessary and why, and you've had time to think and talk about it because you tried to do it earlier.
We once had a year in our state where we had across the board budget cuts, and they did not apply to me because I had already gotten all of my stuff and spent all of my money. So whereas everyone else's budget was cut by 10%, mine was not because there was already no money there.
Yes.
Yes.
Can't call back. You're not going to send
Nope. You're not
paper back to the warehouse.
Nope.
Unless it has a crude picture of a cartoon duck on it.
I don't know what that reference is from.
Another office joke.
Oh, gosh. All right. Continue. Recap.
You want to make a line item budget that's connected to your unit instruction.
Correct.
Say this unit takes one piece of paper per student.
Yep.
So if you want to teach this, we need this many pieces of paper, and it all rolls up and adds up into we need to order this.
Yep.
You can get bids on those from the suppliers.
Yes.
You send them your spreadsheet. It's like, hey, here are the things I need. Can you look at what you can provide and what price you could provide it for?
Correct.
And then you can take that to your administration. And your administrator's probably going to like this because it means less work, right?
They find it overwhelming. I don't know that like is a good term.
But no one wants to fight about budget stuff in the fall.
Oh, no, they don't like fighting about it in the fall. A lot of times they'll end up trying to just give you, if you don't ask for a budget, in May, they're going to tell you what your budget is for the next school year, and it's just a number they made up.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times people say to me, how do you have such a big budget? It's like, well, this is how. Like, this is what my classroom costs.
The principal didn't come into your classroom and take pictures of everything and then specifically make a budget for you based on that.
No.
They're just guessing based upon how much money they have.
Yes.
Ask for help. You've heard of cases where people got time off to work on this.
I know. I think about doing that myself, but I don't know.
It's certainly possible that the administration or the secretary can do the communicating with the vendors for you.
Or that there's someone in your district who does that.
And if you're a baby teacher, you can ask the teacher whose role you're replacing to take a look both for stuff that maybe doesn't belong to the classroom but could, and just all the stuff is there so you can start making your line item budget plan based upon what is actually going to be left in the classroom when you take it over.
Correct.
Sunshine, hey.
That's right.
No one wants to.
Nope.
But you're going to be so much happier with the consequences if you do.
Yes. And your kids will really be a huge, even real littles, they like it. Like you can wrap it into something.
Oh yeah, I forgot to. You did say that. You can help. They can do inventory with you.
Oh yeah, they're great. Older kids like the whole concept of budgeting. I mean, I think about secondary students, like the value of even learning how to do the budget. Like there's value in knowing that itself.
I don't see how.
You're kidding.
What do kids need to know how to plan their money for?
Stop it.
Thank you, Johanna.
Thank you, Jared.
Johanna, do you get questions from listeners ever?
Yes, we do.
How do those listeners send you questions?
They send us an email.
Where does that email go?
teachertalk4teachers@gmail.com.
But wait, what kind of 4? How do I do 4?
All of the 4s. They can do a number 4. They can write the word FOR, or they can do FOUR, even though that one doesn't quite make sense.
Well, perfect. teachertalk4teachers@gmail.com.
Yes.
Thank you, Johanna.
Thank you, Jared.
Teacher Talk, the podcast for teachers who are lifers but still want to have a life.